never be this strong if Israel did not allow it. You know, it was Israel who actually funded Hamas somehow. They have allowed millions of dollars to go inside Gaza. Okay, and Hamas always threatened Israel's existence. And I'm a Gazan. I was born and raised in Gaza. I'm telling you this. If there are victims, in Palestine, they are the Palestinians because of Hamas. I always blame Hamas.
No, I get
disgusting.
you. And I've heard that hypothesis spoken before, because there's certain, hearsay about Bibi mentioning something along the lines of, the tactics of containment, where you pit one side against the other. But that was done outside of any kind of military operations. That was done when all the roadblocks and stops were put in the way of Israel of fixing this problem. And once again, whenever Israel. No, I got you.
No, but
hold on. I haven't finished.
Oh, it's fine.
I haven't finished my sentence yet. Okay, I patiently waited for you to finish. So, I mean, although I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think it's a very realistic way of framing what's happening. And to say that Israel is not doing all it can, especially in this turn of history, I think it's just flatly wrong. I mean, I think Israel is doing the best it can with the best type of precision that can be achieved by the modern technology, and the circumstances and how Hamas is carrying themselves in this conflict. I think that puts another level of strain on Israel's ability to resolve this problem once.
Okay, fine, but I want to tell you, I'm not a self-hater. Okay, I know the Palestinians, we are not self-haters. So, Hamas are Palestinians, but I actually don't believe so. I don't believe Hamas are Palestinians. So, I hate them, but I don't hate the fact they are fanatics. They don't care about the Palestinians. Do you think Hamas has any chance against the Israelis and against the West? I believe they don't have any chance. This is first of all. So they're gonna lose this war sooner or later. They are losers. They're losing this war. There's no chance they will survive. It's only Israel will decide if something called Hamas will still exist in Gaza or not. It's Israel who's gonna decide that. So I think if Israel decides to finish Hamas, it's a matter of time. I don't care. It's gonna take 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. I don't care. It's Israel who's gonna decide when Hamas is over. So this is first of all. Second of all, Hamas know this. The Hamas leaders, they know this shit. They know it. They know they cannot stand. I mean, there's no way they can stand against Israel. There is no way. It's not only Israel. It's Israel and who's behind Israel. Okay? Especially the Arabs. I think the Arabs are supporting Israel, and they have proved it. Emirates, Jordan, all of these countries. So, why they don't surrender and save all of these babies and these women and all of these people? Why they just don't say, okay, listen, we have made a mistake and we want to negotiate surrender. And they can just fucking leave. We can have 40,000 people leaving from Hamas, their leadership, their soldiers. They can fucking leave. They can go to Afghanistan or Iran or whatever shit they want to go and leave the Palestinians. Who is resisting in Gaza are not Hamas. These are the Palestinians. They're getting killed every single day. If Hamas decides this war will be over, it's very easy. They should free all of the prisoners they have, the Israelis they captured. They should free them all. Okay? And Israel should give something back. They should just leave. Israel has already accepted something similar in the past. When the PLO was way better than Hamas equipment, and it was in Lebanon. They can easily get funded, that they can easily get more soldiers and all of that. What happened is the PLO, after 3 months of war with the Israelis, they have decided to leave. The Israelis accepted that, and they have left. all of the soldiers of the PLO, they have left by the sea from Lebanon to somewhere else, and they had left Lebanon alone, and the war was over. Why the fuck Hamas is fighting for 9 months? What is their accomplishments? I wish I know what they have done. A suicide bomb? That's a suicide bomb. Who's winning? You're the first one who's gonna die. They go, they capture, they kill, they injure, they burn, and then they escape. Why you fuck escape? Okay, and then they escape, and then they hide. They play hide and seek with the Israelis, and they dress in civilian clothes, and they fuck the Palestinians, and they attack the Israelis. So the Israelis actually, if they dress civilian, then everybody over 40 and 15 years old is a target. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, what? I mean, you can go and kill the Israelis, their babies, their children. You can rape their women. You can do whatever they want, and you expect the Israelis to say, "Okay, sorry, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go back to Europe. Israel was a bad idea. Let me give you your land back. Okay, this is your land. Okay, sorry, here's your money. Here's your land. Bye bye." It's not gonna happen. That's stupid. So what happened is that the Palestinians were captured, were held hostages by a fucking terrorist group. Hamas is nothing more, nothing less but a terrorist group.
And that's all that you're doing. And you're doing that because you have no other purpose in your life. You don't have any sense of what actually is important.
Well, Issa, here's the part that is overwhelmingly screaming loud. Hold on. These people never open their own rooms.
That's right.
That is the loudest truth that we always see. They don't.
No, I've been in different rooms. I'm in loads of different rooms.
I'm not. Well, maybe you're one of them. Maybe you're not one of them.
Fine, I'll let you sleep over me. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I know it's fine. But my point is that maybe you are one of them. Maybe you're not. But they never open their own rooms. They never want to have their own.
The group that I am referring
to, individuals who I
that are loud and that are only speaking slogans.
Okay, but so I could
go on, Marvin. No, he's not finished. He's not done.
I could argue that you're one.
You know. And so what is it? They don't, because why? Because they don't have an audience.
No, they don't. And they just come to troll and yell to other rooms and basically rape the rooms. You know, they get into.
Yeah. Hang on, I think to fairness. Okay, they're not all the same. So look, Aziz and I managed to be able to have a conversation. He was mostly respectful of the guidelines of dialogue. Yeah, and he was evasive at times. I think especially when he found that there wasn't an avenue to be able to sort of escape some realities and truths that challenge some of his own values, and that's okay. I've got no issue with that. There's a degree of intellectual dishonesty, but there are other people that are just full of malicious lies and garbage that come about, and I think there's basically a scale.
Yeah, but I don't like people that just come to obfuscate in rooms, you know? I mean, like, when you are able to have a conversation and break down your argument and tell us how is it that you came to that conclusion, I don't care on what side you are. Like, we can have a conversation, we can talk to each other. But when you have these type of people that come to the room, they throw, for example, like MK did, oh, what about the dog? And so we are trying to be honest and engaged in the conversation with the dog because we assume, okay, he wants to know about the dog. And as soon as we start trying to speak about the dog, he's like, oh, but what about the women and the children? You know, so it's just try to throw a lot of statements all at once to try to obfuscate the conversation. And then there is this constant interruption. There is no a real conversation. It's no dialogue. The interaction, it just gets very annoying. And I'm done with that. Like whenever I find people that act like that, I don't know. I'm gonna start throwing them out. I don't like them.
Well, one thing I will say, obviously, me and Rohan had a conversation earlier. It was like an hour long. We didn't interrupt each other. Very, very respectful, even though we strongly disagree with each other. I'm not gonna lie, Issa, you're quite, critical of other people, but I don't feel like the way you do things is exactly fair. I've been in a room with you before. You're probably gonna try and cut me off right now. To be fair, I've been here before, but you weren't fair to me. I'll be honest. You weren't fair.
How was I not fair to you?
Because like I didn't, not once did I speak over a person, or I was going.
You must have done something as this.
So this is what I did. So, and I do this when I'm speaking to people to let them know that I'm listening. I say, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
right.
And I told you,
but
I told you when you're listening, I want you on mute.
Right.
I don't want, because it's distracting. Right.
Right. But,
okay.
But me and the person had a genuine flowing dialogue. Like, it wasn't interrupted. The person and me were actually flowing back and forth. It was very genuine, right? We even cut each other off, but in an appropriate way, to the point where it didn't need to be managed or controlled, right? But I felt like the way you did that was not right. That was not appropriate. And then you doubled down.
I asked you for something, and you kept doing it, and yeah, I got annoyed.
Right. So but it was a bit of an emotional response. I don't like.
She's a woman.
Yeah, I'm a woman. So what?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh, last thing.
That's a good enough answer. I'll take that. But like I said, sometimes we're having logical debates, and I'm hearing stuff that I genuinely, strongly, emotionally even disagree with, but I refuse to allow myself to get emotional.
Because that will undermine my point. Obfuscate the conversation, just as I am saying right now. You started every single argument by saying, "Well, I am not someone that gets emotionally charged." And then when you were having people talking to you, were like, and that is also a tactic to distract the person that is making an argument to you. And that is what I told you, because when I was speaking and you were doing that, it was very distracting to me. Daniel also told you the same thing. And then I asked you to be on mute when people were talking to you, and you kept doing it. So exactly, just like you're doing right now. So
no, but that's me listening.
I don't care. You don't need to. Right. I'm telling you, it distracts the person that's talking.
But like I find that, no offense, I find you quite annoying, but I don't have to voice that.
Okay, then don't come to my rooms.
Right. No, but obviously I come here for a conversation, not for to make friends. Right?
That was hysterical what you just did then, Aziz.
Right.
Honestly.
Right. But the thing is, just like, I come here for conversation, not to, these aren't my pen pals and friends. Like, I'm not, I don't really care about, other than the words we say. I'm not trying to, grow some kind of relationship with you.
Neither is anyone here with you. At least I'm not trying to do that with you.
But I don't allow my emotions to enter the conversation, and I feel like, especially, it even undermined what you had to say, to be fair, because I was like, oh, so this guy was kind of going to have consistent emotional reactions. So how can I have a logical conversation with this person? Rohan, on the other hand, he never had an emotional reaction. Even though we had stronger disagreeable points, he kind of gave me that respect, and I gave him that back.
And Rohan is Rohan, and I will never be like Rohan.
Amen.
Well, we can always aspire.
She's saving up to be, okay.
Yeah, we can aspire to be better, I guess, right?
Yeah, I don't consider Rohan to be better, so I don't think, why should I become like Rohan?
Look, it's not my fault I'm born with a penis, yes, sir.
Okay.
I think,
listen, it is very easy. When you feel uncomfortable in a place and you feel like your feelings are being hurt, by all means, I advise you to protect yourself and avoid to be hurt. So if you find me annoying and you find like I really hurt you in any way, please stop coming to my rooms.
No, I think,
and be safe.
No, you got to remember, with me, obviously, the difference between me and you is I don't let, I mentioned I found your name, but I don't let that overthrow my overarching point,
Good, then suck it up. Because as long as it's my room and you're in my space, I will rule it as I wish.
Yeah, I only told you as you were annoying to prove a point. Like, I wouldn't have said that if I wasn't.
And I'm not getting offended by that, by the way. I don't care. I don't have the need to be liked by everyone.
Well, that wasn't my intention, but what I will say is, just in future, because unfairness is like, like I said, if you cut off a man's tongue, it kind of means you're afraid of what he has to say. And I said that before. The truth.
Oh, trust me, I am not afraid.
Oh my
Right,
gosh,
but
this is still going on.
It gives
No,
us
The
it's not.
conversation's
It's
still
not.
going on.
Bang, we're going to pause it right there.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
I think it's really interesting. Okay. And maybe that's a point of conversation in itself. Okay. Cutting off a person's tongue. Well, yeah. Okay. I can get you somebody if you need somebody, Marvin. I care about you. Like, your feelings are paramount.
Coffee.
And I really,
Right now.
he's got lovely hair. Can everybody put like a 1 in the chat if you like Marvin?
I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, okay?
Okay, put a 1 in the chat. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if you like Marvin's hair. Come on, let's put a 1 in the chat. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, Marvin's a good-looking guy.
He's a good-looking guy. Put a 1 in the chat. Okay. Marvin's looking at the moment and he's getting hurt. Okay. All right, Simon gave him a 1. Yay. Good. Everybody.
You're making me laugh too hard. Stop it. Oh, my side hurts.
We got to boost the Kings.
Yeah, look, I mean, cutting off a person's tongue. So we're talking about freedom of speech, and when it's appropriate to be able to, stop a person, or not. And like, I think we've got different ideas and different opinions about this. But Aziz, are you an absolute freedom? Yeah, are you for absolute freedom of speech, Aziz, or not?
Yeah, as long as you're not insulting someone, as long as you're making a valid.
As long as you don't say Mohammed is a
or
pedophile, then
or
he's
cutting
all
someone
for
off
it.
as well. That's a big one as well. Cutting someone off is a big one. As long as you don't cut someone off, while they're literally answering a question that you asked, Ryan.
Okay, I've got a question. Okay, in which
I'm
case,
getting tired of your whining, dude. You do it once
come
more, we're
on.
gonna get out. No. It's again. I'm not gonna deal with this kind of shit, and I am not gonna have here a so-called man whining and bitching in a room and playing the victim. I'm not. If he's not tough enough to be here, he can leave. I'm great. Great. He left. It's amazing.
I think you questioned his man.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my bad.
There you go.
I'm back.
Oh, I thought that you ran away like a
No, okay. Let me ask a question. If you believe in that, okay, Aziz, cutting a man's tongue, let's talk about, I don't know, if a person does a caricature of Muhammad, is that okay?
So you asked me, when I first answered the question, I said as long as it's not an insult. And that is an insult. A caricature is an insult. So that answers your
Who defines what is an insult? Because you call me annoying. I could take that as an insult and I could kick you out of my room, right?
We need to calm the fuck down. I'm actually sick of...
Who said
So you know what it was?
That was good.
The only reason I told you I found you annoying was to stress the point that...
No, listen, I don't care if you find it annoying. All I'm saying is, who defines what is an insult?
Well, why are you guys giving this a platform?
Yeah, I'm not going to everybody say goodbye to Aziz.
Thank you.
Oh.
Jeez. Do we have like a normal discussion about something?
I
Other than somebody's therapy
genuinely
session?
wanted him to get back to basically him saying you ask us to condemn, but then
And everybody say goodbye to Sim as well.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, I thought she already left.
Who is next?
This is Nova. So I'm just wondering, what is the issue with people being so afraid of other people's opinions when having a conversation when it comes down to freedom of speech?
Who's afraid of the opinions?
Well, it seems like there's a bunch of people, especially on this app. I see it all the time within social media,
I don't mind other people's opinions.
Wow.
A lot of people.
Rohan minds other people's opinions.
No, I don't think it's about opinions. I think it's
Rohan does mind other people's opinions. That's why he's a
I think
comment.
it's them not
I
accepting.
hate rooms where everyone agrees with each other.
I disagree.
You
I
don't
disagree,
have to
man.
necessarily agree to each other. You know what I'm saying? But you can have a dialogue.
No.
That's the whole point of having a conversation. But then you get some who, I have a mind bad, and I'm just going to silence you because I'm scared of what you may have to say because it may sway the audience to a different narrative because I'm really scared deep down inside, so I have to dictate the situation. That's literally how it happens.
I am a freedom of speech absolutist. I am
she's
not
not.
afraid of words. Yes, I am.
No, she's
Now,
not.
having freedom of speech doesn't mean that I am under the obligation to hear what you've got to say. So, for example, if I hold a dinner in my house and you come and start calling my mom stupid, maybe I will not allow that to happen, and you will not be allowed to be in my house, right?
That's your house, though.
So yeah, correct. But you can go.
What's she cooking?
Hold on, but you can go to your house and call my mom stupid if you want. That's
Does
fine.
she make schnitzel?
Oh my God, Rohan!
Just asking, all right?
Rohan, stop using your freedom of speech.
That's right.
Okay, now that I got rid of her, okay, let's have a proper conversation.
Oh,
Look, I mean...
The big bully Latina is gonna come for you, my friend.
Oh, God.
No,
but for what it's worth, like I had a conversation. I was having a conversation for the last 6 hours on Israel and Palestine, Gaza and Iran and stuff like that, and people were able to engage respectfully. You know, so it is possible. Okay, but it really depends on the people who are part of the conversation.
it's just more the exception, not the rule.
Like people like Simon and Marvin would be able to do exactly the same thing, but it just depends on the people who are turning up for the conversation. If they're able to like keep their heads about them, be open, and just maybe adhere to some very basic guidelines, it's certainly possible.
Totally agree.
I disagree. No. Stuff.
Well, to be honest with you, I tried to get my views in reference to what you were speaking on and you had a room about to myself because, not everybody's kumbaya, and I get it, but I just don't like the concept of war because it involves a lot of innocent men, women, and children, and I feel like war has been such a big plague on this planet for decades. And there's a lot of innocent people involved that cannot defend themselves, and I just can't stand it. And that's just my humanitarian side. I know that there's different portions and reasons why people do engage or go to war, but I just think it's unfair to the people, the men, women, and children of all nationalities, if you ask me. But that's just me, so that's why I don't usually prefer to engage in those conversations, because I can't stand them. Not the conversation itself, I can't stand the concept of war being unfairly done and caught in the crossfire. It bothers me.
I would agree, and it's a shame that there are. Look, shame. It's ugly. It's painful to see, reality within this. There is evil, and evil needs to be dealt with when it acts. And when coming from, we're seeing such wokeism that's placed society these days, it actually dampens our abilities to be able to act effectively and instrumentally. And I'm not saying that's where you're coming from, right? But this sentiment that is pervasive, right, at the moment through this woke leftist ideologies, is just actually making us weaker and making this world even more dangerous than ever. And for what it's worth, whether it's Israel needing to be able to go and get rid of Hamas, okay, as best as possible or not. Or whether it's Ukraine doing what they need to be able to do to protect their borders. We've just got to respect that that's what needs to be done. When a person's sovereignty, when a country's sovereignty is being attacked, they've got a responsibility to be able to defend themselves just as anybody else is. If you're walking in the street, somebody punches you, you know what? You're not just going to walk away and say, that wasn't very nice. You got to deal with it.
It's an understandable perspective to take, but it's also quite condescending because you're saying that from a nation with a vast array of abundant excess resources that's a net exporter of a ton of the basic necessities to live, that happens to have the most advanced, craziest security blanket ever devised by man that we know of, that has the strength and the ability to get what it get what it wants from other countries without having to bomb them. And when it does have to bomb them, is very free and loose with the bombs. So
Who are you
perspective
referring to? Who are you referring
America.
to? Okay. Yep.
So to have this perspective, oh, war is horrible, why don't we just not fight? Keep in mind that you're saying that from a position where most of the people around you have enough to eat. And they have some social mobility and some hope, and they have things to do, and their idle hands are occupied and distracted by entertainment and work and all the kinds of things that Americans fill their lives with. These people in these situations are not coming from the same place and then deciding, let's just do war. They're in a significantly different circumstance. And you should recognize that before you just present the notion of, how about you guys just not shoot each other in the face?
Well, that's understandable, from a standpoint. I definitely get what you're saying. And in some form, I actually agree. However, America is not just the only nation or country that has had war. Since the dawn of civilization, there has been war and tribalism. Every nation has to look at leadership because every leadership runs their country in a right, and most of those leaderships have had histories of war. So that's an actual fact. Mankind has no war since the dawn of time. So it's almost like if you're gonna blame and point the finger, way of not taking accountability and blaming all for certain aspects of different things. But I make that to look at it across the board since the dawn of time. This is a humankind.
When you look at it historically, war seems to be much more geographical than it is a leadership or a function of leadership. There are three main areas in the world that have had a vastly outsized amount of warfare since we've been recording history. And the reasons for that are geographical. They form language barriers. They form a divide between the people on one side and the people on the other side of an area based on these conflicts. But these hot zones have been hot and remain hot as a function of their geography.
Well, no, I'm going to push back on that, Manville. I think.
And policy is going to have a hard time. Policy is going to have a hard time overcoming the structure of these places, like Eastern Europe or Southeast Asia or the Middle East.
So, but can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can hear.
Yes, we can.
Look, the idea of that geographies are the reason why wars exist, then that's not an understanding of war, right? So what you're saying is that wars tend to happen where geographies have an influence, but wars don't happen because of geographies.
Oh, I'm getting a bad connection. I lost it. Can you get?
No. So it's the Department of Insurance. Like if we determine that it's fraud, if I determine that it's a fraud claim, I basically submit it to the Department of Insurance, and then it goes on your record, like your permanent record. So if somebody like pulls up claims, if you have another claim, and somebody pulls it up, they'll look through your history and they'll see that you had like a fraud claim in the past.
Oh, that sucks. I hate to have any type of record on me. But I was going to tell you records are public, so like anyone can really look through it.
So then when we drop you from the insurance company I work for, when you try to go get insurance with another insurance company, if they do take you on, which is rare, your premiums will be out the ass. You're an insurance risk.
So, like, let's say I get into a car because of the weather. Like, could you determine that's a fraud? Like, how do you determine that's a fraud or not?
For what type of claim?
Like, let's say I got into a car accident and, like, let's say I was teaching my younger kid to drive. They crashed the car and they say, oh, it was the weather because it was bad or something. How would you determine that was a fraudulent claim?
Well, that wouldn't fall under the category of fraud. If you're teaching your kid how to drive,
And then
you're to crash the car, regardless of the weather, you're still at fault because you didn't maintain control of the vehicle.
So you wouldn't cover me?
No, you'd be covered. You would just have an at-fault accident. But there's instances where they wouldn't cover you. Did your kid have a license?
Yes.
Do they have a permit?
Yeah, sorry, not a license, a permit. Sorry, a permit.
Yeah. Are they on your policy?
No, they're just learning to drive.
Yeah, then they may not be able to get covered.
Damn.
I know here in the United States, most insurance companies, most states, in order for a kid to get a permit or a license, they gotta be covered by their parents' insurance or have their own policy.
And I say, like, when you're a new driver, your insurance is very high unless you, like, people. Oh, it is? Because I hear, like, when you're a first-time driver, your own insurance charge you, like, through the roof because they're scared you don't know what you're doing.
So insurance doesn't really cover the person; it covers the car.
Oh.
You're just on the policy as a permitted user of the vehicle, or vehicles that are on the policy. Is how it works.
Do you work from home?
Sometimes I do stuff in person.
Oh,
Right now I'm not at home. I'm actually at
the office.
No, I'm at a salvage yard, like where wrecked cars go. So we have a contract with this big auction place, and they hold our vehicles for us, so we can come out here and look at the cars.
Mario, I don't know you, but I like you.
I appreciate it. So the car I'm looking at right now, I got to come out here and I got to do measurements to see if it matches up with what's being claimed.
If I were a person, I'd be giving you dirty looks.
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
What up, guys?
Good morning, everyone. This is Poet. I'd like to make morning greetings to you all and the president of Clown House, Mr. Oscar, and his assistant, Lil Haiti. This is Poet.
It's a troll.
No, this isn't a troll. What are you talking about?
Oh, sorry.
No, but I do agree with you. I like the speaker. Was it Mario talking about the vehicles? His insurance job? It just sounded interesting.
Wait, one second. This guy's a troll. I know who he is.
You don't know who I am, Uncle, and I don't know who you are. We've never met.
No, you definitely do know who I am.
I definitely do not know who you are, and if you keep playing this game, I'll just leave the room because I don't want to have a conversation with you. I'm here to talk to Mr. Oscar, the president of Clowntown.
No, I'm just kidding. But oh, he left.
Uncle left.
Well, hey, Mario, so wait, you work for a car insurance corporation? Like, I don't understand. What's your job title and what's the name of the business, or I guess what's a made-up name of the business, or I guess can you explain your situation because it sounded so interesting. I agree with Hazat. I want to be your friend. I like you.
That was me that said that.
So it's not a made up thing. I work in a specific department for an insurance company. that investigates fraud.
God, I meant like so you don't dox yourself.
Potential fraud claims. Oh, look at this car.
You know, I thought my credit card got swiped the other day because I started seeing charges on it from a gym that I don't go to. And it turns out that that gym bought my gym and they took over the monthly billing. I was like, holy shit. And I called Amex to file a fraud claim because I kept getting charges from this gym. And it turns out, you know, it wasn't fraud, and I ended up canceling my card, and I lost my cards. I caused all kinds of problems because they didn't inform their fucking customers.
Wait, what happened? Sorry. Can you repeat that?
Can you hear me? Because this phone is really shitty. It looks like it's coming through.
No, he said that it got the gym member or the gym itself purchased by another company. So he didn't realize that, or he wasn't told that explicitly. He canceled his card because he thought he was getting a scam. He caused some charges. Right, gas.
I got people saying I said, okay, and I didn't have it. So I had to cancel my card for it.
Except for when you're wrong.
Well, there you go.
And everybody, if you like Marvin's hair, please put a 1 in the chat. Just put a 1 in the chat. Show a bit of love. He's just had a haircut.
What number should we put if we don't like it?
Put a 2 in the chat if you don't like
That number doesn't exist is the correct answer, Rohan.
No, the number is you leave quietly. That's the number.
Wow. Pretty rough.
That's a lot of freedom of speech right there.
That's true. I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome the beautiful Issa back. She's looking sometimes, but we can look.
Amazing.
So it was something mentioned about woke, right?
Yeah, I'd said that.
And yes, sir, you did. And I wanted to know the difference between a woke person that is considered a liberal, right? And a woke person who does not identify with either one of those things. And what, defines them as being considered woke. Because honestly, I've been hearing that word a lot, and I feel like it can be detrimental to any one person. It's because when I heard it first on this app, people were saying woke is bad, woke is liberal, woke is this, that, and the other. And this is, I don't consider myself a liberal or anything of that nature. But to be woke is to be aware, right?
Well,
because you're
liberal. Hang on. I will respond directly to, because she's referring to something I said. I'll respond directly, and then maybe other people can give their response of what they think woke is. No, the great question. I think it's really good to be able to look at maybe the etymology of it. As standard, it's word and terminology that comes from elements of Black America, as being, hey, become aware, understand, have a look around, take in, and it's about awareness. It was about awareness, and there has been an appropriation of that that has been repurposed in a way that I was using it, right, to be able to to be able to highlight the ignorance of, as an example, far left, kids at university who are walking around with slogans, walking around with flags and calling out slogans without even understanding what the fuck they're saying. Okay, they are pretending, right, to know something about, something that they really have no idea about. And they're just literally, they are sheeple. They are people who are regurgitating information without any type of critical thinking. And that to me is just, that's a woke person. That's just really lame. They're virtue, they're essentially, a lot of them are, and most
Social
of them
media
are virtue signalers. They need to be seen as doing the right thing and getting some social clout as a result of that. And that's how I'd probably categorize it.
Okay, everybody, welcome to How to Do Engagement Farming. This is Poet. Engagement farming is a newer term that I've never heard before and really didn't understand. But this morning I kind of got a better understanding of what engagement farming is. So I want to discuss what engagement farming is, how to do engagement farming. Hi 5K, welcome to my podcast. I'm discussing how to do engagement farming. This room is essentially an engagement farm. I'm doing it as we speak live. We'll see if anybody wants to come to the Subscribe podcast. This is Poet. Thanks for being here.
This is kind of something I think is really important. So thank you very much, and thank you for the feedback. And any feedback that you may have on what I'm doing would be most welcome. Great. Thanks, Adrian. Yeah, thank you very much. If you all have enjoyed this show and would like to see more shows like it, please do follow me. I'm always here. I think I'm going to start a space just after this one, which I call the information space, where we practically discuss anything. It's a daily show. It's running a bit late because the space, is very long. But yeah, do join me for that. I'm going to edit here. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you, John Spencer, for giving us the time, and this much time especially. So, yeah, man, awesome stuff. Have a good day. Kind of seek, to an extent, validation from people who are experts. Young boys who don't know each other, killing each other on behalf of old men that do know each other. Kind of seek, to an extent, validation from people who are experts in the niches of which you speak, right? This is kind of something I think is really important. So thank you very much, and thank you for the feedback. And any feedback that you may have on what I'm doing would be most welcome. Great. Thanks, Adrian. Yeah, thank you very much. If you all have enjoyed this show and would like to see more shows like it, please do follow me. I'm always here. I think I'm going to start a space just after this one, which I call the information space, where we practically discuss anything. It's a daily show. It's running a bit late because the space, is very long. But yeah, do join me for that. I'm going to edit here. Thank you all for coming. Young boys who don't know each other kind of seek it to.
Serving the most amount of people and creating a real civic identity around shared values and shared causes and each other. I'm a religious person, but I have no problem saying that, like, religion and
So I agree. I do think that is one of the good. That's a good. I would say jugular for the American side, like to kind of figure out where the support and the funding and everything's coming from. And so, in that sense, I mean, I don't know that it depends on what their priorities are, and if their priority is really to bring in the Messiah, then do they care? Do they care about at the cost and the expense of the American people? I don't know. I mean, that's a great question to.
Different way. I was trying to figure out what the ultimacy that upholds and secures the truth value of propositions in the world was, and I eventually came to that it has to be something that has relationality and the ability to uphold and secure the
Hania, right? Yep. You saw those statement? Okay.
I can hear. No, I frankly don't know what to make of that just yet. It's weird. But what I've been looking at is the Iranian response. I'm not sure how they'll go. I expect they have to respond. A hit on their own territory. We saw this back in April when the Israelis hit one of their air defense sites, and we had a significant response directly from Iran against Israel. The U.S., the French, the Brits, the Jordanians even all helped knock that down. I suspect we may get something like that again. I think the chances are high. Obviously, the proxies in the region are already starting to respond. And the question will be whether or not Khomeini is serious when he says that he's ordered the Iranian military to directly strike against Israel in preparation for a larger war. We'll see. I think the chances are probably significant, and I think a lot will hinge on what the U.S. does and does not say. I have been very, very disappointed with the Biden administration that they have not come out and said, look, if you go to war with Israel, you're going to war with us, and we're going to come in and we're going to stomp you flat. They should be doing everything possible, including threats of direct U.S. intervention, to prevent this. The fact that they're not, in my opinion, that increases the chances that we will see significant direct fighting, obviously at range, between the Israelis and the Iranians. Certainly it encourages their regional proxies to do more, especially if they keep withholding munitions, as we've found out that they have been. The joker in the deck, I think, will be Hezbollah. Obviously, they're closely tied to the regime in Tehran. They have been for decades. And it's going to depend on whether annoyed enough to risk his second major proxy in the region by having Hezbollah do. Hamas in the south. I think there's a lot of moving pieces. There's the potential for this to blow up into something significant. There's the potential for it to simply be an increased exchange of long-range fire, and then everyone kind of backs off and goes to their separate corners. I'm not sure which one it's going to turn into just yet, frankly.
Patrick, they say that the U.S. is sending more combat fighter jets over right now, 57 minutes ago.
Yep. And as Bree said, this notion that they're putting another carrier in the region, that's been U.S. SOP for, since at least 9/11. You probably go back further to that and say, since at least the 91 Iraq War, we've had significant assets in the region. But yeah, we're seeing a somewhat increased, reported anyway, increase in U.S. Air Force deployments. What that looks like is not yet clear. I saw the same report.
Sorry, may I say something? I just received something from Dr. Doran exactly about that, what you are talking about.
What did he say? What did he say,
Lillian? I have just received a message for Dr. Mike Doran exactly about what the Americans are sending to the Middle East. May I read it for you?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so I'm reading. So Dr. Mike Doran has just written me. The Israelis are inclined to preempt the Iranians and Hezbollah. The Americans are working hard to block the preemption. Americans want a repeat of April 13. It all comes down to how willing the Israelis are to defy the Americans. There is a lot of room for miscalculation. This is what Mike Doran has written me. So don't be impressed by what the Biden administration has sent. It is nothing else but to prevent Netanyahu to take a preemptive action. That's it. This is what Mike Doran sent me. Thank you.
Well, Lillian, I don't think he's wrong, given that we keep hearing the diplomatic solution rhetoric continue to come out of the administration.
No, he is not wrong. He's not wrong because he served as a director of in the Pentagon under George Bush for 2 years, and he had his own head about also the Bush administration and their policies in the Middle East, and he knows the administration in Washington D.C. in and out. Not to talk about that he also speaks the local languages. So he would have never written me something like this unless he was sure that that's it. And Hallel Biton Rosen is informing his followers that they are, despite Shabbat, they are going for a special reporting on Channel 14 right now. Right now. That's it. I'm going to listen to Channel 14 and I will update you from time to time.
So they're going to allow Channel 14 to stay on through the night?
Yes, for the next 2 hours at least, yeah. He has just informed his followers. I just got the information.
Who's the reporter that's going to stay open?
Biton Rosen. He is the military and army reporter of Channel 14. That's it.
Oh boy, oh boy,
I'm going to light candles now. Excuse me.
Oy, Lillian, I love you. Don't cry. Ay, ay, ay. Come back to the space. I'm going to leave it open all the way through. Shabbat candles are not till 7 at least in Israel. So, ay, 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 Lillian. Ay, ay, ay. They need to strike right now. Right now. They can't wait. I think Patrick, I think
this is why Netanyahu called the cabinet in order to take that decision, yes or no. Gott behüte Israel.
I think all the decisions have been taken already, Lillian, and I think
Gott behüte Israel. Gott behüte Israel.
We say אשרי אדם פוחד תמיד, and it's good to always be aware of danger that may come, and always pray, and always never underestimate the enemies, but also remember all the time that, as we say, Lo Alman Israel. Maybe a big thing will come today.
I'm so sorry I'm not down there to be with you.
Sorry?
I feel so guilty. So guilty.
No.
Watching it from far, I feel so guilty.
Guilty for what?
For not being.
I feel guilty that you're going to miss all the fun.
I feel
See,
so.
next time you should be here so you don't miss all the fun.
I'm not
Listen.
afraid.
Give me one
You
second.
have
Yair
to
is back.
understand I'm not afraid. I feel
I'm not. I'm
guilty.
here in Tel
I
Aviv and I'm
feel
not afraid either.
guilty for not being down there with you. I feel
You are with us all the time. All
so
the
far
time. You
away.
are here in your soul, and this is where you are, and this is where your thoughts are, and and your heart is here. So that's all that matters, and we are all in it together, and we'll pass it together stronger than ever. And you don't know, but I've been here not only a co-host for more than 10 hours, but also the sidekick of the Olympic Games. So very soon, Raz Hershko we're gonna go for a fight of the semifinal. She's gonna have a Turkish opponent, as if things cannot be anymore. Tight.
My God.
So keep, kudos and make send good vibes, good energy to our Raz Hershko in Paris. There was supposed to be also sailing for our amazing windsurfers, but the wind in Marseille is fucked up like everything in French. And so it will be tomorrow, and if not, they're both in the second place, which means they will get automatic silver medal. But we hope that there will be sailing tomorrow. So that was the little update of the Olympic, and if you can, and if you want, and if you like judo and you like Olympic Games, you can watch Raz Hershko in the next few minutes.
Fred, your hand was up before. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I feel bad because the emotion that was just thrust upon the space was really trumps anything that I would say, but I would say that what is happening now, in my opinion, is when Netanyahu said, give me the weapons, I'll do the job, I'll finish this. There had to be a decision that was made. The decision was going to be, was the United States, the West, the free world that wanted to live in peace, willing to kick the can down the road, defend against this onslaught that'll come upon Israel right now, and finally take the offensive actions necessary to potentially deter it? Or were they going to just kick the can down the road and let the next attack be in their homeland against Israel with 10,000 missiles, or just wait for that inevitability to happen? We don't know exactly what decision has been made. I am positive that Israel, once they can document either through United States intelligence and or their own, that they are under attack, meaning something has been launched towards them, that they will immediately not wonder about if it's crossing into Israeli airspace or not, but will utilize all of the technology and all of the military might that they have in the region to defend the nation. There will not be, let's wait for it to cross through Iranian geography before we implement strategies and equipment to defend Israel. And American, and it's a fine line, right? But at this particular point, I would imagine they might as well wait for the first drone from Yemen or the first, cruise missile to be launched so that they can tell the world, we waited, here's the documents, here's the intel, we were under attack and we responded. It's worth it. So we'll find out, like Patrick said, if the decision has been made to kick the can down the road and play defense, or if offense and changing the dynamics in the region is genuine. We already know. Yep, and that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say to Patrick, what's the over and under that Israel says to the UK and the US, hey, listen, we can't run the risk of something coming through. We got to do something significant ahead of schedule. How quick can those decisions change, in your opinion, Patrick, military-wise, or Bree?
Well, it really depends, and I'll let Bree speak to this too. But or no, that sounded condescending, Bree. I'm sorry. Let I haven't had enough coffee apparently.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, Patrick. I'm just joking.
I'm sorry. No, I mean, this kind of stuff can change very, very quickly. If we see a significant response from Hezbollah, and I mean a saturation attack that does overwhelm Iron Dome and its ancillary defenses, and it really starts doing a lot of damage, then yeah, Israel may make the decision, okay, we certainly have to go into Lebanon. We may have to conduct direct strikes against Iran to make it clear to them that they need to tell their people to back off. So this certainly has the potential to do that. And frankly, a lot of it's going to depend on what Israeli intelligence is telling Bibi and Mr. Gallant and the rest of his government. If they're saying, look, we're anticipating a huge response, they may decide to try and preempt. If they're saying, okay, they're pissed off at us because we made them look like fools, and they're going to make a show, but it won't be anything serious, then obviously it goes the other way. The other thing to consider will be what the Israelis think the Biden administration is going to do, and God knows who's running the place these days. Your guess is as good as mine. But if they anticipate that their administration is going to continue its policy of withholding aid, of being fairly stingy with weapons resupply, offensive weapons resupply, I should say, they've been fairly good about getting them Iron Dome and defensive munitions. If their anticipation is that that's going to be the case, then obviously they're going to be a little bit more careful. If they are prepared to wait another, 6 months now, and they anticipate.
Were you saying since the April strike, or are you saying since the original?
No, since the one just a week ago. If they're looking at the U.S. election and think that they may get a Trump government in, then they may hold off and prepare for a strike, a much heavier strike sometime next year. Because obviously, Trump administration was very pro-Israel, very much tougher on Iran, I would argue, than the current administration is, both in terms of sanctions and a willingness to conduct military action against Iranian targets. Not in Iran, obviously, but killing the head of the IRGC while in Iraq was certainly a message that the Iranians understood.
Guys, I'm sorry, I have to bring the breaking 15 seconds, and the Turkish is done in Ippon. Wow. Okay, semifinals, judo, Olympics. Raz Hershko for Israel just won it in 15 seconds. The opponent was ranked amazing.
And there's your sign. Patrick, if there's bombers
exactly,
in the air for the United, if there are bombers in the air and actively participating in the theater, can we, as Americans, as Israelis, as people in the Western civilization, understand that the calculus has changed and the dynamics now are to alleviate the situation? Because without bombers, American bombers, this is a very complicated, process to try and defeat any of these.
Fred. I get you. Yeah, if you see and detecting this before they do it is always hard. Though there are some aircraft tracking folks in the open source community who are quite good at it. But if we start seeing major deployments of heavy U.S. aircraft, like strategic bombers that are capable of carrying large numbers of standoff munitions that can be fired outside the range of Iranian air defense, for example, if we start seeing those kind of deployments into the Middle East, then yes, that, in my opinion, would represent a significant change in U.S. policy, either as a deterrent or a willingness to actually come in on the side of Israel and strike targets that we previously have been unwilling to go after. Yeah.
According to Israelis, in Israel, the bad strike can be very high percentage overseas, not in Israel.
Matt just said this feels like he feels like Israel might need to preemptively strike and attack Iran, and he says that because of what the IRGC general said about striking U.S. military bases over 24 hours
What
ago.
would you even strike, Stealth?
In Iran?
Yeah.
All the rocket launchers.
Yeah,
Strike
maybe,
the Capitol and all the rocket launchers.
maybe Brian Mass told you something. Maybe while they were withholding 338 ammunition, which I can go buy online, they were delivering the type of ammunition that Netanyahu was speaking about, the type of ammunition that can actually make a difference in Iran's nuclear program. You have to be careful. He didn't just come up with this out of thin air, Brian Mast.
It's called the third level. Nobody speak about it. When they see it, and it can be too late.
You said the third level? Is that the terminology?
Yep, you don't talk about it. And Israel not stupid. We know we have so many countries with much money. So many people want to destroy us. So what do you think? They sit here and blah, blah? No, they work very hard. So we ahead of everybody for like say 10 years, I think. Yes, at least 10 years ahead. Yes, for a lot of field.
Everybody retweet the space. People are looking for my space. They can't find it. They're freaking out. Everybody wants to sit and wait in the space with us until everything goes down. It's going to be a crazy day, guys. After all this in Ramallah, they did an absentee funeral for Hania, and there was lots of people there. So thank you to Hamas Atrocities account for posting this with the video. And the narrative that Hamas is only in Gaza, as we all know, is baloney. So
I just thank God that Netanyahu is the prime minister in these moments. I feel safe. I feel secure. I know that maybe some big things are going to happen. I feel that when he's the one steering the wheel, and no one hide information from him. I'm quite sure. But by the way, just so you know, there has not been any changes in the orders of the home front command. Means whichever was before is still now, nothing new. I guess that if there was some reason to change it, they would have. Because they never play with.
Did the army just release a video from Pikud Haoref regarding?
Pikud Haoref is home front command.
Okay, so they did release a video right now.
But they changed something in the instructions?
Yeah, I don't know. It's my first time watching this. I haven't watched it before. I just posted in the upward bubble. I'll send it to your DMs.
I'll see it now.
They give basic instruction, what to do in case of that or this. It's typical.
Okay.
You know Iran.
Yes. So I read it now. They just say again when there's a change. When the home front command is changing the readiness, the alert, for example, saying no gathering of over 500 people together. This is something that we've been through before. No gathering in this or that area. Stay 1 minute away from nothing like that was given. The only instruction that they were giving now, just like before, was make sure that you know your surrounding, that you know where is the nearest shelter, that you have, the basic, the level of readiness that we should have all the time. So again, guys, it should tell you something, and you can.
A report from the Times of Israel says Iran planning to launch drones at Israel from Syria as part of threatened retaliatory attack.
Yeah, I knew Syria something was gonna happen with Syria, and so they'll make Grand Canyon in Syria also. What do you want me to tell you? I mean,
even closer for parking in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, Brie.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm hearing from sources now. I hope that you will seriously consider keeping this
I'm
space
keeping it
open for the
open.
next 24 hours.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be needed.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Okay. Okay, all right, okay.
Oh my God.
They'll reach out and ask for help and let people help guide you through this long term.
Yeah, please. Yeah. And guys, touch grass today too, just because, there's going to be a lot of, if this goes dynamic, there's going to be a lot of reporting. And like we've seen before in reporting, oftentimes it can be manipulated. So give yourself a chance to kind of ensure your mental health during a time of dynamic reporting, just because things can get really emotional very quickly. God willing, I am incorrect, and there will be no dynamic reporting. God willing.
Let me just, guys, give some breaking that we're getting right now from Southsider. It seems that the parliament of Hamas, yes, there was parliament of Hamas and 3 other leaders inside the tunnels in Gaza. One of them is Ruhi Mashtaha and Samah Asarj. These are their names, so they are gone. We just eliminated them. So thanks to Southsiders for giving us that update. Back to you, Steph.
Okay, so people DM me from the audience or whatever who are going to be around in case people are not available to be co-hosting with me and help me. Just DM me if you want to help me, and that way I'll know who to reach out to. Thank you. Okay.
I'll have to go in some moment for Shabbat dinner, but I'm with you too then.
Okay. They'll put your space up in the nest. For some reason, I can't tweet it up there.
Okay.
Because it took me quite a while to find it.
Okay, so everybody retweet the space and send it to your groups, and then I'm going to put it in the nest, I guess. Okay, cool.
Nobody pay attention. Iran making the biggest mistake. If you ask me, this is the end of the regime of Iran. This is start. If they act by any means,
I think so too.
They give the opportunity to Israel. Don't forget, we never fought a war against country from 1973. They are the first bride to come on stage. We fought terrorism, Hezbollah, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Houthis. No country there, even Syria next door. We do whatever we want there. They have airplanes, they have tanks, they have everything. They don't dare. So I guess they miscalculate. They think it's another war, like with Saddam Hussein. They're stupid. We eliminated them. 750 yards. This guy got killed from the president's house. So this is double message.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian.
Thanks for that, Yair. So who goes
Brian
next?
and then Roma. Brian, Vernon,
Brian.
Roma. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, go ahead, Brian.
Okay, thank you very much. Hey, I just want to say a word of encouragement because a lot of people are quite on edge. Israel has not lost any war yet. And there have been so many empires through history who've tried to destroy our people, have tried to destroy our country. And each of them, from the Babylonians to the Assyrians to the Ottomans to even the British Empire, all empires are now just part of history. And who are left standing? We. Only we. All of them are now part of history and are not there anymore. And when you look at how Israel came to be, even the 48 war, but also all the things that after. It's hard not to believe in a God when you see what Israel overcame and is still there. And I want to encourage you, even like Lillian, who was here before, even when you're at a long distance. I mean, wherever you are in the world, we're still one family, one mishpacha. And wherever you are in the world, you can still pray. And wherever you are in the world, I mean, your heart can still be with the people in Israel. And yes, it's probably going to be wild if the expectations are true about the news items, the news messages that we're going to hear. But like Bree said, it's good to stay calm. Part of it is also fog of war, psychological warfare, trying to mislead your enemy, trying to confuse with conflicting reports, and even to sow unrest among the people. And I don't know what works for you, but sometimes if it gets too much, just take a moment, a news break, even if it's just for a moment, to collect yourself, to maybe even pray a little bit, or whatever works for you. And for the people in Israel, we're with you in our hearts, in our prayers. You're not alone. Even if it may feel sometimes like that, you're not alone. And Israel has gone through so many things. Also, this Israel will get through. And as for
Brian,
yeah,
wait, Andrea, hold on.
Stop.
Yes,
I
what
have
is
a
it?
priest that is available to come into the space if you're interested.
No, I'm good. Right now, claims of airspace closures over the countries of Cyprus, Greece, Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan are currently false. That just came out 15 minutes ago. And Musab Hassan Youssef just said, the Atomic Warehouse and Atomic Archive, all eyes should be on this right now. He just posted that 8 minutes ago. I don't know what that's in, if he knows something, I don't know. But
there's going to be a lot of fake news, a lot of really, you should take everything that goes out with just so many exclamation marks and question marks.
Just like October 7th and afterwards, we have to ensure that we have, like, we can corroborate things, you know, absolutely, 100%, because the crisis actors will act upon crisis.
Exactly. The chaos agents are like on 200 miles
we
per
call it
hour.
verification.
okay. Roma, jump in, and then we'll go to Vernon and G.
Hey, I just want to give two quick updates or quick reminders for everyone. I know everyone's feeling stressed, but I want to remind you that there was a guy in the Turkish parliament, we all remember him, who cursed Israel in his parliament and immediately dropped from a heart attack and subsequently died. Hugo Chavez cursed Israel. He said, I want to condemn from the bottom of my soul, from the bottom of my guts. And he cursed Israel that way. He got cancer in his stomach. So I just want to remind everybody about that. We're all here. It's going to be okay. We're going to get.
I love you, Roma. You're so cute.
Yeah, by the way, if we're talking about Turkey, so just intermezzo, Raz Hershko, our judoka,
Ariel, you're not listening to me. I gave this update in real time.
Oh, okay.
It was like, now she's done.
Really? So,
she was like...
Well, I just want to say that we are waiting. Yes, amazing Ypon. So we are waiting for the final fight in which, yes,
in half an hour,
we will know.
Final with the Brazilian who just won the second semifinal.
Yes.
She's huge actually, but I believe Raz can do it, and it will be one of two, either gold or silver. So
and good luck for both of them, because we like our Brazilian friends.
Yeah, but good luck to Raz today. Okay? Only Raz.
Okay. You're so good. Fred, Vernon, go ahead.
So just maybe to make us all feel a little bit better in practical terms, I want you to imagine a week before the U.S. elections, a Trump ad where you see images of us leaving Afghanistan in shambles, of money being paid to Iran, and of God forbid, Israeli land civilians bases being burnt to a cinder. That is a death knell for the Harris Shapiro ticket. It completely blunts the selection of Shapiro as a vice presidential candidate, who I believe that is a foregone.
Vernon.
Yeah.
Did what did you just say, Vernon? I think you did not read the room correctly, Vernon, today.
No, what I'm saying is
No, Vernon. I want you to think about what you just are. You want all the Israelis and Jews in this space to imagine Israel's bases all burnt and what it would be like.
No. You have to let me finish. What I'm saying is,
I'm trying to save your life right now.
No, it's inconceivable to me that the U.S. would not act preemptively with Israel to prevent that. That's where I'm going with this. I'm saying that in political terms, it's inconceivable that the Biden-Harris administration would sit by and do nothing, knowing full well that it is going to be shoved up their rears a week or 2 weeks before the election. The weakness, the claims of weakness, the valid claims of weakness against the Biden-Harris administration is something that they have to find a way out of. And not backing up Israel, not joining Israel in a preemptive strike, that completely works against them. So for that reason, I am more optimistic that the U.S. will join Israel, that the U.S. will participate, and not pessimistic. That's where I was going with this.
Okay, Vernon.
Okay. So,
Vernon,
yeah.
it's like your 3-year-old pissed in the punch bowl at my birthday party. It didn't land great, but D- is for effort. A for what you're planning on it being. Poor guy.
Well. So here's the thing. So on the other side of the scale, imagine an ad by the Biden-Harris administration showing them actually taking action, showing them actually doing something about Iran. That works very much to their electoral benefit. So to the extent that politics plays a role in this, I think that tilts the scales in favor of U.S. help, significant U.S. help for Israel, beyond what we saw last time. That said, I still believe this is going to be much more like the last attack, though with regrettably, probably more damage. Against military targets, not civilian targets.
Vernon defending Israel.
Okay, Vernon,
as opposed to, let me finish this. Defending Israel as opposed to eliminating a threat to everyone are completely different political statements. I don't know which one it'll be, but you have to I'm sure you understand that there's a difference. So it all depends on the messaging on how they want this to be. It's been mine and Sin's contention that they absolutely will try and elevate Harris to a authoritative posture. And the one way to do that is to show that she's strong against Americans' enemies. But that doesn't mean I'm right. We don't know.
The other problem is that I'm not sure what congressional authority is required for the United States to act in the way that they would really need to act to address the Iranian threat. Like, it's clear no congressional.
There is no congressional.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, honestly, like. Oh,
French tell all us citizens leave Iran immediately.
Yeah, that's been reported.
Yes.
That's crazy, though. It's been.
Yes, we already reported it like a couple of hours ago.
I didn't know about that. This is change everything.
Why does it change everything?
Because usually you tell friendly country ahead of time on let you people out.
Let's say that
And I
France
didn't hear it from
did not tell a citizen in Israel to go out, but the citizens in Iran to go out. That's it.
Okay,
we should say no more.
Michal, can you pick your DMs? Could you unblock, I think, 2 accounts I'm going to send you so they can come into space. They've never met you, but you have them blocked. And they're Americans, and they're total random, like, small accounts, so it's funny to me. But just unblock them for me for now, because you're my co-host. Okay. Okay, I'm going to let Patrick go first, G, if you don't mind. Go ahead, Patrick, and then we'll go to... Not you, Ariel. Ariel, you're perfect.
Patrick?
You're fine, Ariel. Just Michal.
I'm perfect.
You're perfect.
Who can imagine that? Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah, just
Go ahead,
from a
Patrick.
U.S. Speaking from a U.S. perspective for a minute, Vernon, I will say you're right in that the upcoming election does change the political calculus for us, for this administration certainly, because they are perceived as being weak on defense, rightly so in my view. However, what you're suggesting here cuts against so many ideological sacred cows that they hold and continue to hold. I don't know that they are willing to commit aggressive action against Iranian assets. Let me put it to you like this. We have almost 200 U.S. casualties. These are Americans, American soldiers who have been either killed or wounded. I think 183 wounded and 3 killed was the last number I saw, and that was a couple months ago. And we have not killed a single IRGC asset in response, not one. We gave local militias who were doing the Iranians' bidding plenty of time to get out of the way before we launched attacks. And we have not sunk their support ships in the Red Sea. We have not gone after, as Israel has, IRGC members operating in Syria or Iraq. They have categorically refused to respond in any way that could be perceived as direct against Iran.
Why do you think that is, Patrick? Why do you think that is?
I think it's a combination of because you have to remember there are a lot of Obama holdovers in this administration. So these are the guys who thought that they could use Iran as a counterweight in the region for regional stability. They still buy into this. They're disastrously wrong, and they've been proven disastrously wrong every time they try it, but they still buy into this. And there's also, and this is my personal opinion, and I really want to say this, this is a purely personal view, there is a significant element of personal cowardice in this administration. They are afraid. Their ideas are bad ideas.
How does that jive? I'm not disagreeing with you, but just to help me understand it a little bit better. How does that jive with successive Republican and Democratic presidents since 1978 who all have made the same failure?
Well, they haven't all made the same failure. If you remember, Reagan essentially sunk the Iranian fleet in an afternoon, and the Iranians backed off.
No. They attacked an oil platform. They didn't sink the Iranian fleet.
Oh yes,
No,
Operation Praying
no,
Mantis?
that's incorrect,
It was
Vernon.
Operation Praying Mantis. They put a destroyer class ship at the bottom of
Thank you.
of the Persian Gulf.
Yes,
They
they did.
destroyed a couple of torpedo boats. They damaged at least one Corvette that I recall. The U.S. Navy went to town on these people, and they basically kicked their ass back into Iranian ports, and did so on a whim. Reagan told them, and they did.
86%.
By contrast,
you have 86% of their Iranian force Reagan took out in one day, and there was no retaliation.
That's right.
Preach.
And you contrast that with the Obama administration, where we have U.S. small craft giving up to the Iranians. We have a release of sanctions that netted them billions of dollars, and then we see an uptick in Iranian proxy violence throughout the region. If that sounds familiar, you've been paying attention for the past 3 years, where we saw the Biden administration relax sanctions to the tune of, if you believe FDD's assessment, that'd be the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, tens of billions, somewhere between 20 and 40, in addition to direct payments by both us and our allies for a combination of energy and hostage releases. And we see another uptick in Iranian proxy violence throughout the region. Oh, and the radical acceleration of their nuclear program. Trying to play nice with Tehran under the Ayatollahs has never bought the United States or our regional allies anything but death, misery, and increased security threats. The only way you deal with these people is with force. It's the only language they understand. It's the only language they're ever going to understand. Maybe one day, when the Iranians have control of their own destiny again, we can treat them like the normal nation that they used to be. But as long as these psychopaths are in charge, you have to be willing to kill them in droves.
So Patrick, what authorities exist? What authorities exist that give the U.S. military the legal authority to preemptively strike Iran to prevent an attack on Israel?
The president has it,
Bingo,
Vernon.
Bree. For the president's status as the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces and his affirmative duty to safeguard U.S. interests and the lives of Americans. That's the only duty that matters. That's the only authority that matters.
Yeah, that's why we haven't had an actual declaration of war coming from our which Patrick and I could argue that being a negative. But we haven't had one since, for quite some time, is because the president has used his presidential powers. We'll say like Operation Odyssey Dawn, for example, with the Gaddafi situation is a perfect example of placing American assets on the ground, American assets in the water, in the skies, in support of activity that dethroned Gaddafi. That was not a declaration of war. We can take a look at other scenarios, even longer term on that. That Odyssey Dawn was under Obama. A president can make these decisions to go in to and again, like Patrick, I don't know. I'm of the opinion that the president should have limited powers in response in this type of thing, but absolutely Congress has to get involved in this type of situation.
I agree. Our failure to declare wars, I think, has allowed a lot of playing around on the margins and has not produced good results for us long term.
Right, and it also permits for bad actors to make a lot of money involved with that, where congressional oversight is necessary, I think, in times of
absolutely. This and there's never been more support than there is now in Congress for doing it. I think Congress is ready to. It may not be a declaration of war, but I think they're ready to convey some similar authority. Again, I understand that you're saying one is not needed, but I think Congress may be ready to further legitimize it.
It doesn't need it.
They haven't even released the weapons yet that they promised they would release.
There's the whole thing David Milstein released on all the weapons that they haven't released. It's insane.
I also put the press release from last night, the press release of Biden's statements to Netanyahu during their phone call, and it was a disgrace. It only discussed defensive measures, and that I put it up in the
we got it. It's
and the purple pill. I don't feel like reading it because it's just a disgrace. And last week, Vernon, I don't know if you know this, but last week the State Department reauthorized another $10 billion sanction waiver for 4 months. The money is in Omar, and they have access to last week.
It's bad.
So you're talking about, are they going to do anything offensive? Of course not. Look at what's going on in the rest.
Yeah, the U.S. won't do offensive work in this because, again, it goes into the element of saying, is this directly connected to U.S. interests? I.e., like we're talking about in CONUS. When they follow through on their threat, then overwhelming force will likely be the response to that. But like the idea of preemptive is not within the cards, I think, of the U.S. Would you agree, Patrick?
Oh, I completely agree, Bree. And Vernon, I'll tell you this. You will find no harsher critic of the Biden administration's foreign or military policy than myself. I see a lot of my followers in here. You all know. I have not seen an administration in my lifetime, and I'm 41 years old, that has done a worse job on the world stage than they have. I would praise them to the hilt if tomorrow, after holding a closed session of Congress, the airstrikes on the Iranian nuclear program began, starting with the killing of their key scientists and then the sites themselves. And they came out and said in closed session, the Congress authorized a state of limited war between the United States and Iran to destroy their nuclear capability and prevent a strategic threat to the United States. I would praise them to the hilt. And frankly, it would be the most sane thing that any U.S. administration has done in the Middle East since 2001. But they're not going to do it.
It would never. It's not going to ever happen. Sorry, I have to say, it's just it won't.
Absolutely won't be right. They're never going to do it. It goes against everything they believe. It goes against their personal inclination not to engage in this kind
and
of.
And it also shows, but Patrick, it also shows the limited nature of a lot of those in U.S. politics. Many of them, I would say, vast majority, have not served in the military.
Yeah.
So they don't really have any idea. They believe in only defensive warfare because they think we just need to. I don't know. It's like a coddling of their own emotions to consider what could be considered defensive in an offensive strike. But yeah, we are going to start to see leaderships, turn over from the baby boomer generation who haven't served into those who have served in the military. We're starting to see that happen. I think we're going to see in the next few elections, in the next 10 years, we're going to see that turnover.
I just want to say one thing. In the last 24 hours, Patrick, it's come out that Kamala Harris's national security director is under fucking investigation for its involvement with Iran. He's part of that fucking spy ring with Robert Malley, and it's ridiculous.
Steph, I about blew a gasket when I read that. The level of Iranian penetration of this administration should have everyone in this country appalled. It is a national security threat bar none. I can only imagine how the counterintelligence people are tearing their hair out over this.
And CCP, by the way, CCP as well.
But you're right. They're never gonna do it. And frankly, I'm glad to start seeing we're getting some GWAT veterans in Congress, thank God. But I agree. The overriding premise of most elected leadership is aggressive, decisive strikes to destroy potential threats before they actually become threats. It just doesn't enter their thinking. And it's really doing us a disservice when it comes to Iran. Because by the time that threat emerges, it's North Korea run by jihadis in the Middle East with nuclear bombs.
So, and I think it's really important to
Patrick, to the people that would say that we're holding powder for war with China, how would you respond, and potentially Russia? How would you respond to that?
Well, and that's actually a decent argument, but in this case, I don't buy it because Iran's nuclear program, to my mind, and this is again personal opinion, is the sole remaining strategic threat to U.S. security in the Middle East. If you eliminate that, then you can do what a lot of people are arguing, which is pivot to Asia without having to maintain serious forces in the region to curtail regional threats. You can let regional actors like the Israelis, like the Saudis, deal with it in their own way because Iran doesn't have the bomb. Once Iran gets the bomb, it becomes immunized to an incredible degree against any retaliation. And for people who don't buy that argument, I want you to look at North Korea. Because North Korea is what you will get, but it'll be in the Middle East. It'll be run by Islamic fanatics who have a long history of supporting, encouraging, and funding Islamic martyrdom in service to killing both Jews and Americans. And that is a situation that is completely intolerable.
Well, Patrick, 2 weeks ago, Blinken...
Vernon, hold on 1 second. G needs to jump in. Hey, Matt, if you can hang out a minute, that'd be great. Just because we're going to all pepper you. G, go ahead.
1 second. The bomb explodes next to the embassy in India.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Send me that info right now. Which embassy?
Just come now.
Which embassy? U.S. embassy or Israeli embassy?
Israeli embassy.
Oh, my God. Well, I said Venezuela. I did not think about Israel.
The message says it's near, so not in.
Okay. G, go ahead. Let me go look this up now. Shit.
Yeah, I just want to first off and start by saying I'm thinking of all my Israeli friends. I hope you guys take any preparation necessary, and please be careful. I am thinking of you. I went to my parents' place this morning before I went to work. I dropped off some things. And I talked to my parents' neighbor, who I'm not going to dox him, but he ran one part of the nuclear triad. He was the head of the Air Force for strategic deterrence and, quote, nuclear integration. And him and I had a fairly interesting conversation this morning, and his kind of sentiment and like his stoicism kind of comforted me, because he said that he's not extremely worried. He thinks that Israel will take steps to defend itself, and he thinks, basically through the things of our conversation, he said that there's a little bit more worry than need be, and he has faith in the defense apparatus. And I kind of, what Patrick was talking about, and Brady's talking about, Vernon's talking about, in terms of like the leftist sentiment. I posted an article of a guy named, I'm going to botch his first name, Jin Yu Wang, who is a guy that was held hostage in Iran. He tried to do his PhD dissertation there, and ultimately was in that hive mind, or that what I'll call collective consciousness, thinking that quote unquote U.S. imperialism and our military intervention is the reason for why this group is so radical. He found out over the course of his time there that that certainly was not the case, and that a lot of Western people have the wrong point of view when it comes to this. And now that can influence a lot of members of Congress, and it certainly does. But